Hey guys, Cobra here. Welcome to another Racial Legends video. We don't have the news just yet, guys, within the game, but tomorrow we're gonna get a 10x on certain champions, and one of them is gonna be Necrit. Let's go over him very quickly, and then we'll go over the rest. Why I'm saying this, guys, is that tomorrow every one of the big whales is gonna be going for Necrit. He's one of the strongest champions in the game in terms of PvP. His kit is just amazing. He has two passives, and the protection that he provides to the team, to a single member basically of the team, is just too great to miss out on getting this champion. So a 10x, guys, gives you just 10 times the chance to get a champion. The chances to get a legendary doesn't change. So for void champions, we've got 30 void legendary champions within the game. So the chance to pick out a void legendary is 1 out of 30, okay, whenever you do summon a legendary. So it's 0.5% times 1 out of 30. So that's already a small chance, but during a 10x, especially for voids, that chance goes to like let's say 1 out of 30. So Necrit is going to be almost 10 out of 30 if that's how they treat the possibilities to pick out the legendary. So it's basically 1 out of the 3 legendaries that you'll pick out will be Necrit, okay? But it doesn't mean you won't get unlucky, or it doesn't mean you'll get lucky, okay? I don't know if that makes sense, but the chances to get a legendary out of a 10x are so low that whenever I did try it, because I tried it so many times, made so many videos before, I just didn't get them. So I don't know if I will be pulling this time. We will have the event for picking out fragments for Underpriest Brogni, but even so, I've got like 50 saved up voids from whatever packs or something that I had over the period since the last 2x, and also from picking out shards from clan bosses. But still, to skip out on this kind of event seems to be not as smart in terms of me just having such a great legendary champion. So very quickly, let's go over his skills. Attacks enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff for 1 turn. This effect cannot be resisted, so this is so good. Just so good to apply a decreased attack without the need for accuracy. A2 teams up with all allies to attack 1 enemy. All allies under ally protection buffs placed by this champion will join the attack. Allies joining the attack will use their default skills. Grants an extra turn if no enemies are killed during this attack. This is so cool. Then next up, plays a block debuff buff, a 50% ally protection buff, and a 25% strengthen buff on an ally for 3 turns. This goes to 3 turns cooldown. The ally protection buff cannot be removed, so the buff stripper from the enemy team cannot remove the ally protection, so your nuker usually will be protected by this. Whenever an ally is attacked while under an ally protection buff, which we already place a shield buff on the ally equal to 30% of this champion's max HP for 2 turns. Occurs only if the ally does not already have a shield buff placed by this champion. Also decreases the cooldown of this champion's Legion of the Damned skill by 2 turns if the shield buff is placed. So he seems already broken, and he is broken, guys. Broken in the sense that he is such a good protector of that specific champion that starts out the fight with the ally protect. Place a block debuff buff and a 25% strengthen buff for 3 turns on the ally with the lowest max HP at the start of each round. Also plays a 50% ally protection buff on them for 6 turns. The ally protection buff cannot be removed. So this champion is so good, and he also has an all ally resistant battles by 60 aura. He's got good stats, 97 speed, not that high, 50 resist as a base, and 21,000 HP also as a base. So you can get his HP quite high if you boost it, and you should be boosting it, by the way, because of how he works. So Necrit will be the one that everybody is chasing. The odds of getting him are low, but I know some of the whales that I talk to will be going for him. And well, I'm not a whale in the sense of I buy all the void packs that come, but I'm always tempted by the 10x. I just don't know what to say. I can't say to you guys go and get him, but for me, I'll probably try to get him. He's gonna be great for my collection if I do get him. So next up in the list for the 10x champions, guys, let's go quickly and see who is up. So based on my list, we've got next up is Gintor. Gintor is one of the Shadowkin champions. Here he is, Gintor. I think I did not do, or did I do a video on him? I think I did a video on him before. He's one of the brand new Shadowkin legendaries. He's great as a single target hitter. He basically can steal turn meter at basically 100% chance and 100% of the turn meter, and this is on a 3 turns cooldown. This is so good when you do hit bosses that you cannot reduce the enemy's turn meter, because this will also decrease your Oni's rage cooldown, which is your other hard hitting skill, which also decreases defense and applies a 25% weaken debuff. Also has this crazy thing, will attack 5 times instead of 1 on every 4th use of this skill against the same target in 1 round. So he does have that synergy between this A2 and A3. It's cool, but that's not what I will be pulling for sure. Many players should be pulling for one specific champion in this 10x. Next up, of course, is Tomblord. Tomblord is Night Revenant. I think he is a great champion, underrated by most. So why I think he's underrated is because people don't consider his decreased speed as so good, but also he has a way to apply poisons on enemies, and guys, he also has a way to decrease turn meters, apply a decreased attack debuff and a decreased speed defense debuff on all enemies for 2 turns. This is so good in all areas, and especially for that Night Revenant faction wars. If you were having difficulties in beating it, Tomblord will be the key to just take it down. He just provides so much utility with all of his kit that you cannot skip having Tomblord in your team for Night Rev 21. And then he also has an ally defense in arena battles by 42%. So definitely that cannot be neglected as well, although not many people go for a defense aura for arena battles. Next up is Robar. I just did a video on him yesterday. He's a guy that has a stun on his A1 that can actually give you extra turns and keep stunning people, getting those extra turns all the time. This is so fun to use, especially when you keep getting that stun. It can actually be ridiculously funny. He also applies a decreased defense at a good chance for a legendary 75% chance. He can get this to 100% if you book it out, and his A3 does damage based on if you also have sleep stun or freeze debuffs on the enemy. So he is a solid champion, but what I love about him is more to use for as a support instead of a nuker, because you also need some kind of setup for his big nuke to actually do damage. And on auto, unfortunately, he doesn't do his A2 first and then his A3. So it kind of, you're either gonna get him as a nuker first, I think, or as a a stunner and a debuff, decreased debuff champion. So this, I think, 2 builds that you can go with Robar. You can check out my video if you want to see more in depth on how I did use him. Next up is Deacon Armstrong in the Sacred Order. This is a champion that I still do not have, an epic champion that I still don't have. Look at this, guys. I don't have this guy, and why he's so great, guys, is because of this skill. A3 fills the turn meters of all allies by 15% and decrease the turn meters of all enemies by 15%. This is so good because it also grants you an extra turn. This is just crazy. Grants you an extra turn. So you do the turn meter manipulation, you grant an extra turn to Deacon, and then he goes in and decreases the defense of all enemies with 100% chance when you book this out, and the 60% decreased defense debuff, so the strong version of the debuff. This champion is so good for an epic. He can be booked out, I think, relatively well, easily for the amount of utility he can provide. If you get unlucky and he gets it on his A1, you'll just get a leech, but leech is still good for fighting bosses, especially because this is like a single target hitting skill. He also has an all ally speed in battles by 90% boost. This is good, but there's other champions that do the same thing and even better. For example, for my free-to-play account, I've got, I think, Gorgrab that has a way higher percent for arena, where he would be useful for. Next up is Gala Long Braids. I think I did a video on her before. She was the one that tanked the Dwarves 21 stage for me. She is such a cool champion because of what she can provide in terms of both nuking, but also tanking potential for that Dwarves 21. So if you do have difficulties in Dwarves 21, she's gonna help out with that stage for sure. And the way to build her is with lifesteal, so remember that. Attacks one enemy 3 times, each hit ignores 25% of the target's defense. So definitely a Rotos killer. She was used frequently in arena for that specific thing. Grants an extra turn if this champion has full HP after using this skill. So this, you use this, and then you go in there with your A2 attacks one enemy, ignores 50% of the target's defense when attacking under a shield buff. So basically you're hitting with this, you're already at full HP. If you do have a shield set on or something that gives you a shield like a divine set, then she will be going with the A2. She will be ignoring the target's defense and then heals the champion by 50% of the damage inflicted. Place a shield buff on this champion equal to any surplus heal for 3 turns. So 3 turns gaining that shield. So the brand new artifacts that we did get will be perfect for this Gala long range. So she would be going with this, gain that shield when she's attacking with full health, and then going there with that A2. I think this will be a great combo to use because she will be ignoring a ton of defense with this skill, because she will be gaining that shield going into the fight from this. But you can also just take in a shield champion within the setup that you're using, and she will be benefiting from that as well. Ainax is the next epic that will be offered in the 10x that we're gonna have tomorrow for the weekend. This guy is quite cool for an epic. He does have a both decreased defense and a weaken application. So decreased defense on his A1, 35% chance to do it when you book it out. Then he has the weaken on his A3, 75% chance to apply. It goes all the way to 100%. When you do book it out, 3 turns cooldown. This is great for the clan boss. And then his A2 attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff and a 5% poison debuff for 3 turns. This is also cool for the clan boss. But why he's so good is that he also has a passive that increases his defense when this champion drops his HP below 75%, 75%, and then also place a 50% increased attack buff on this champion for 2 turns when their HP drops below 50%. So definitely a solid way to buff up your champion, but this is on a 5 turns cooldown and is not reduced by any kind of booking of this champion. Grants an extra turn when this champion's HP drops below 10%. So this will eventually be proccing and might sync you out of your unkillable team. So I think there's one team that I think Deadwood made a video on it. So be sure to check that out if you are if you do want to use Ainax for your unkillable team. And finally, guys, Whisper is going to be the final epic that we're going to have for 10x. Whisper was one of the OG epics offered through the Amazon cooperation with Raid Shadow Legends. I think this was more than a year ago. And she was, I think, the 2nd or 3rd epic offered through that cooperation. So Whisper, let's go over what she can offer to the team. A weekend on her A1. Then her A2, increase attack buff on this champion for 1 turn before attacking if the target has higher max HP. And this champion will ignore defense if the target is under a weakened debuff. And then A3, attacks one enemy 2 times, grants an extra turn if the target is under decreased defense and weakened debuffs. So this one's cool because she's gonna get an extra turn attack once more. But guys, she's got this passive. Look at this. 10% chance of granting an extra turn whenever this champion lands a critical hit. Increased damage inflicted on bosses by 20%. So this is so fun when it does proc. It's a low chance, just 10% chance, but it's cool to have it as a passive. And when it does happen, she gains those extra turns and keeps on hitting that boss. And then she also has an ally attack in dungeons by 29% aura. So it's not that great, but it's still good if you don't have anything other to use for dungeons. So this was the 10x, guys. Will you be pulling this weekend? I know most will be pulling regardless because of well, basically we have to pull for this fusion. We're gonna have to do all events that are up in order to pick up all the fragments to pick up Brogni. There's no other way around it. Just do the events. At least pull your shards to get the minimum amount to get the fragments if you are still going for the fusion. And I am on both of my accounts, my main account and my free-to-play account. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.